So today is May 28th, 2019, and we are going to talk through the SFDC data models. So I have a chart here that I'll use and hold up the screen to kind of walk through things. But I think as I talk through it, what's going to make the most sense is for people to interrupt with questions. We'll store this video for future documentation reference. So Salesforce, Salesforce.com is what we refer to as SFDC. And this is the CRM by which the sales team tracks deals. So the way it works is that a lead will come in. A lead is usually a business that we could sell to. And a lead is made up of contacts. So the person who we would sell to is the contact, but the lead is the company. And then once the lead becomes qualified, either they're a marketing qualified lead or a sales qualified lead, depending on how they come into the pipeline via marketing or via the XDRs, then they become a sales accepted lead or a sales accepted opportunity. So that's where they go from here to here. And an opportunity is the actual sales deal. An opportunity is won or it's lost. So that is us getting the sale or not getting the sale. And once an opportunity is created, once an opportunity happens, it becomes an account. So our accounts are our customers. And then the next time we sell to them or we sell another product to them, whether that's professional services or whatever it might be, that feeds back into creating a new opportunity. So there are lots of different opportunity types: new business, renewals, professional services, etc. So we can see how contacts are leads, leads become opportunities, opportunities become accounts who then have more opportunities, and that adds additional information to the account, etc., etc. So the tables that we produce analyses off are primarily two: Opportunity XF, which is the opportunity table enriched with additional information, and Account XF, which is the accounts table enriched with additional information. I'm going to share my screen and walk through the DBT docs. Does anyone have any questions so far? Actually, I'm not going to ask that. Just interrupt me if you do have questions. So these are our DBT docs, and this is the lineage graph specifically for SFDC Opportunity XF. What you can see here is that there are a number of different things that are enriching this value, including user information, the opportunity stages, the lead and where the lead comes from, and of course the opportunity information. And this table really is the core of most of our downstream SFDC related analyses. So we take a peek here. Actually, what I want is to look at the full SFDC graph. Oh, okay, maybe that doesn't work, sorry. So, okay, so I mentioned the contact and the leads table, the opportunity table. These all go into here. We do have to map the stages of an opportunity. There are different ones. And this is the kind of thing that I don't think it makes a lot of sense to spend energy memorizing and learning when we do have self-documenting code. So the general gist of it, though, is that there's a pipeline, a best case, a commit, and a closed. And that's based off these stages as they're described here. And then stages are attached to default probabilities. We don't really report off this. SFDC opportunities, an important thing to know if we look at the opportunity XF table is that we have a value for is1. Yeah, so we have a value for is1. If an opportunity is won, it's by default closed. it means its date is in the past, its close date is in the past. If an opportunity is lost, it might not be closed. So the way to know that an opportunity is lost is that stage is closed is true and is won is false. We used to join to the SFDC users information to get owner and team and manager and things like that. But because of reshuffling in the data org, we now, or in the sales org, that's now stamped on to opportunity. The same is also true of accounts. And so, And so now that information is there. Really, all of these XF models that you see here are just enriched pieces. We've already done a lot of the joins in the DBT models. The other model that I'll highlight and dig into a little bit more is the accounts XF model. So again, looking at the lineage graph, we can see that it's being enriched. Whoops. I want to move that out of the way. It's being enriched primarily by SFDC account data, but also user data and record type data. What is happening here is that we have a value called deal size that is the size of the last deal that was won that is in the past. And we attach that to the account. So all this stuff going into that opportunity is just for that one value that we join here. And then we pass that forward through our retention analysis. If we look at the account info, the account ID in some places is also called the CRM ID. Zuora is an example, but they now are using that term in Visible as well. The account ID or the account information has things like SDR and XDR information that's not just tied to an opportunity, but to the account as a whole. And then TAM, like key people on the account. Some of these key people it'll present as user IDs instead of people names. And in those cases all join from the SFDC users table to get the actual information. That is, the other thing I'll mention is a lot of data goes through Salesforce and a lot of data gets piped into Salesforce. I think these visible models are a great example of something like that. So this visible attribution touchpoint model is visible data that we get from Salesforce instead of from visible directly, because this is a custom table that's piped into Salesforce. So,
further context on that, Visible wants a large amount of money to be able to pull the data from the source system. I think generally, if possible, we would want to pull from the system, like the source system for this stuff. So like Zuora, in general, we shouldn't be using what's in Salesforce as the source of truth for data that we could get from another system, unless, like in this case, we're just not going to get it from Visible. So
to echo that, like our system of record, like the GitLab system of record is not always the system of record. I think the Visible example is a great one where Visible is the system of record, but it's not the GitLab system of record, Salesforce is. Whereas, for example, in SFDC accounts, we have a GitLab com user value, which is a Boolean that's just like yes, no. This is not the system of record. Really, the system of record for a piece of information like this is we look at the product that this account has purchased in Zuora to figure out whether or not they're a .com user. Other things to highlight. We have campaigns. These are what bring in leads, lead sources, where they're coming from. We do some unpacking of JSON or of nested fields in these unpacked models and then use them for analyses. You have to be careful when joining to them not to lead to a fan out. But Salesforce is a pretty straightforward data source because it's mostly a relational database with a UI on top of it. So it makes it easy to produce analyses over. These models all existed prior to DBT docs. So most of them are not documented, and there are a few schema tests, again, because they've been around for so long. I hope that that's some technical debt we can address in the near future. Questions?
I have a question, Emily. What's the difference between the accounts table and the user table?
So users are individual people, like I'm a Salesforce user, you're a Salesforce user, the BDRs and the XDRs, they're Salesforce users. Accounts are like customers, but it's not individual people. It's like Acme Corp is an account. And then the account might have like a point of contact in it. And that's the contact, would join out to the contact ID. But the users that you'll see in the SFDC users table are almost all coming from the GitLab side.
Okay, thanks.
So an account can have multiple opportunities that led to it.
Yes.
How do we know which one is the one that resulted in the business coming into the subscription being created?
So an opportunity is, there's not a new account created every time. Maybe it's not like super clear here, but this is actually a cycle. It doesn't create a new account every time a new opportunity existed. The account just gets a new opportunity. So this is a cycle. Does that make sense?
Right. So, but what I mean is, just to see if I understood this correctly, let's say Acme Corp could have had an opportunity that was not won, so the account was not created because we tried to sell and failed. Then we tried to sell again and failed, but then we tried to sell again and they bought.
The account would have still been created once it moved to the opportunity stage.
Right, but then there will be like...
Independent of one loss.
Independent of one loss, we'll always have an account.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, excellent. All right, and then every renewal is an opportunity, as I understand it, right?
Yes.
Okay, and do we have a way to separate sell versus increment opportunities?
Oh, like that, whether they buy the same thing or they buy more? So we do have a way to track that, but it's not in the kind of opportunity. The metric force that we track at GitLab is IACV, which is incremental annual contract value. So what we care about is not like, are you selling the same thing as you sold last year? The goals are all around like the incremental annual contract value. So the metric that we report on is IACV, and that's really the indicator of expansion, dollar expansion. Does that answer your question, Alex?
It does. Last one I have, because we were recently reviewing this in a separate call. How would you match what tier they bought in the opportunity?
What the product they bought was?
Yes.
So, good question. There is a product value, but it's based off Zuora. Give me 1 second.
I think the answer is we don't have a canonical way to actually do that quite yet, because the source of truth for what was bought is in Zuora. And right now the Zuora linkage to Salesforce is through the account. And so I think you're going to have to figure out the canonical way, Alex, to do Zuora to opportunity, subscription to opportunity.
Yeah, correct. No, that's what we were reviewing before. But I was wondering if there was, like, at some point in the Salesforce model, we defined when the opportunity was created, what the opportunity was for.
So there is an opportunity, there is a product value and a product's purchased value on an opportunity, but that is, to echo Taylor, that is not the canonical source. You have to.
And I think the ones that are auto-generated by, if somebody comes up and signs up themselves on the website, I don't actually know that data is input properly into Salesforce. It's definitely in Zora, but I don't know that the opportunity reflects the full state of what was purchased.
And the Zora subscription table has an opportunity ID attached to it.
Does it really?
Yeah.
I thought it was an account. For my last email, you will see this field and
I don't know how well populated it is, but it's there. Does anyone have any other questions that I can use my markers to answer? I broke them out of the drawer.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
I think somebody said at one point that, for example, like a new customer comes to GitLab and they weren't part of the sales process at all or part of the marketing process at all. They just show up on the website and they buy something. Someone told me like that process is still captured in Salesforce, or an opportunity is still created. Like, how does that workflow work?
Yeah, so if so a not sales assisted deal still pops up in Salesforce as an opportunity. I think its sales type is web direct.
Okay.
But it still is in Salesforce if they buy. If you create an account on GitLab.com, you don't get a Salesforce opportunity. It's only on the purchase. And I think based on a conversation with Virginia last week, it's unclear whether or not trials are in that. I just saw a thing today where someone said that looks like trials are MQLs, marketing qualified leads, but I'm not sure and don't have any additional details on that.
Okay. But GitLab.com is talking to Salesforce and saying, we have a new user that just purchased something and still passing the information onto Salesforce for us.
Yes.
Okay.
I just queried that table, and there's definitely subscriptions that are active without opportunity names. So this could be something that if we figure out a better way to do it, we can write a test for it and continue that feedback loop, like around account linkages. We can do subscription to opportunity linkages. So.
Cool. I will wait one more minute and then I will end the recording.
Quick question.
Yes.
I was trying to find a question where you could use your little board, but I'm going to see if I can word it. Okay, so we know that, I don't know if everyone knows, but like the fields and tables that end in, so for the background, I'm working on sources for SFDC right now. So I'm getting a chance to see all the tables. Notice that just like fields, things that end in C are custom, correct?
Yes.
Custom tables as well. Those are created by the users and like the people that are using Salesforce, right?
Yes.
And then that gets, and then in Stitch, literally all you got to do is go turn it on, or does additional modeling have to happen because they're custom?
So like the sales team will, let's say they add a new table that's called preferred flower, or a new column on the opportunity that's called preferred flowers, right? Mm-hmm. So what they'll create is something that is actually called, oh, I ran out of room. I did that poorly. So pref flowers _ C. That indicates custom. And then any addition, so that's part one. Part two, how does this get from Salesforce into the data warehouse? We do have to turn on an additional column in Stitch if the table is not set to auto pull in every column.
Okay, cool.
Okay, I'm going to end the recording now. Thanks, folks.